Well, one of the things we love to do here on Subculture After Dark is introduce you to new music, and there is a brand new single out from a Brisbane-based band called Valhalore, and this is an amazing single. It is called Horizon, and they've also got some dates coming up for shows later this year as well, so thought we would actually get Lockie from the band on the phone today to chat about everything that's been going on with the band so far this year and about the new single as well. So welcome to the program, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, mate, it's been a couple of big months for you guys. You had the tour, of course, with Blind Guardian, and of course this brand new single, Horizon, is out as well. So let's kick it off by talking about the single. Tell us a little bit about Horizon and how this track came into being.
Yeah, for sure. So Horizon and kind of all the new material that we've got on this the second album that's coming out later this year. Basically, it was all, it was our COVID album. I'm sure lots of bands kind of have a COVID album, so to speak. We had big plans for 2020 and 2021, which obviously all kind of fell by the wayside just with the pandemic and not being able to leave the state, let alone the country. So, we kind of pooled our resources and used our touring money and all that and our touring kind of time and jumped in the studio and put together an album that we're really happy with. And so we thought, when releasing the first kind of taste of this new music, we wanted to release a song that kind of signified this new hope that we have as a band and this new, this reignited kind of fire that's, in all of us now that we can finally be out and doing stuff again. And Horizon felt like the best fit because, it's a hopeful song, and it's a song about making an impact and making memories that kind of live beyond your own existence, so to speak. So we thought it was a good song to lead with.
Definitely, and that was such a frustrating time. I found, talking to bands, some bands during that time found it a great time to sit down and write new music. Other bands found themselves in this kind of situation where they just couldn't write because of that time. It sounds like you fell into the first, though, and used that time to write. What did you use writing as an escape to what was happening with COVID and how we couldn't leave our homes and things like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was very lucky during that time myself and Anthony and Sophie from the band. We were all living together, so half the band was under the one roof, which certainly made, the writing process a lot easier, and it made it a bit less frustrating, being in lockdowns, at least with your mates, rather than being completely isolated from one another. But, it was definitely an up and down time, I think, for all of us, as it was for everybody. And there were days that were certainly, easier to be creative than others. But I think, I'm very proud of us individually and collectively that despite all of that, we were one of the few bands that managed to kind of make it through that time and still come out the other side, doing what we love to do and still being able to keep, pursuing our music career. So, we're very just grateful that we made it out because a lot of friends' bands weren't so lucky. Yeah.
So, do you feel that Horizon is a good example of what we can expect to hear on the rest of this album?
Yes and no. I think there's definitely some twists and turns. I mean, we're always aiming to, push ourselves both technically and in terms of our songwriting and still kind of finding, I guess, a sonic space that's, for lack of a better term, kind of unique to us. And so I think, if you've liked our earlier material, there'll be some material on this album that you'll really enjoy. Maybe there's something that you might not expect. And, I think there's a bit of something for everybody. We describe this album as the musical equivalent of a box of favourites. It's all chocolate, but everyone will have a different favourite.
Definitely. Now, you guys supported Blind Guardian as well on their tour. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like? Was that a dream come true?
Oh, mate, absolutely. Blind Guardian was my kind of gateway band to symphonic and European, I guess, metal. And so to, be on the road with them for a week and just be able to, watch them 5 nights in a row and it was an absolute masterclass in professionalism and putting on an epic show both on and off stage. So, yeah, definitely a bucket list moment, not only playing with them, but playing some more, bucket list venues and just seeing how much love there is for that type of music here in Australia. It still kind of blows our minds. And, even as the support act coming out each night to, sold out crowds, and the amount of love that we received on a show that wasn't our show was just absolutely nuts. So, yeah, definitely a pinch me, I'm dreaming kind of week.
Yeah, and we should also mention that you've toured previously with Camelot, Ailstorm, and Arch Enemy. What have you guys learnt about from touring with bands like that?
It's one of those, I don't know, they say never meet your idols, but so far we've been incredibly lucky because, all those bands you've just mentioned, for either all of us or one of us in particular in the band, they're like our favourite bands or whatever. So, there's kind of that apprehension going into it that, they're going to be too busy or too important for us or whatever the thought might be. And we've had that completely, disproved every time. It's been incredibly refreshing, meeting whichever band it might be on day one of a tour, and it's essentially just us, 10 years in the future. They still just love what they do, and they're there to put in the hard work, and at the end of the day, they're still people, and it's really humanizing, I guess, it's refreshing, and there's no egos, and I think that's, part of the success of those kind of bands is that not only are they incredible musicians and show people, but they're obviously easy to work with and a pleasure to be around. And yeah, so that was the biggest kind of takeaway, was just how incredibly down to earth all these people are.
Definitely. Of course, now the big questions. When can we expect the album to be released, first of all?
At this stage, the album is slated for a June 7th release, which is what we're working towards. But, things might change between now and then. But after years of waiting, we've figured we need to put a deadline on it ourselves, just to have something to work towards. So June 7th at this stage.
Awesome. And, of course, what have you got planned for the rest of 2024 as well? Are you hoping to get some shows, a tour? What are the plans after the albums come out? And, of course, before then as well?
Yeah, so again, this album's kind of been ready to go since 2021, and it's been a few frustrating years of just itching to get it out there. And so in the meantime, we get to do the fun, kind of single release campaigns. Obviously, we've just had Horizon, which has been, incredibly just wonderful to see the reception it's received. It's, we still are blown away that people even listen to us, let alone, know who we are and think what we do is cool. So, so there's that. So we get to do that a couple more times with a couple more singles before the album itself comes out. So we get to film some more music videos, which I absolutely love. It's, putting on the dream show and in weird and wonderful locations and fun stuff like that. So yeah, a couple more singles and the album will come out, and we're working on some really, really exciting show stuff that I can't quite talk about just yet for later in the year, which is all shaping up to be some of the biggest and coolest stuff that we've done to date. So lots of work, but really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait for that news later in the year. But for now, we are going to play Horizon on Subculture After Dark for the very first time. So what would you like to say to everybody out there before they sit down and take a listen to this amazing track for the first time?
Oh, look, I prepare to go on a wild and wonderful heavy metal Disney adventure. And I hope it brings a smile to your face and gives you the motivation you need to get through the difficult times as we all kind of experience over these past couple of years, and hopefully it gives you the uplift that you need to go out and chase another horizon and keep looking towards a brighter future.